Hi there and welcome to Cranford Hospice talk on intruder response, dealing with aggressive people and also armed robbery. Firstly, let's deal with dealing with aggressive people. So as volunteers, you'll be at the hospice dealing with all sorts of things in relation to families. Sometimes grief can affect people in very different ways, and you may have to deal with this as part of your role as a volunteer. Now, aggression can be in a number of ways. It can be a heated conversation. It can be someone becoming so tense that they look like they're going to assault you. In these sort of circumstances, what we're trying to do is, what I do every day is trying to look at calming a person down, okay? Not rising to their level. If their level is quite high and they're aggressive and they're talking and they're in your face, you need to back off a little bit and try and come in from a lower level. What we do all the time, if someone is really yelling and swearing and abusive, come in at a lower level, because they actually can't hear what you're saying unless they do calm down. So that's one thing. Coming in at that lower level, talking to them just as I'm talking to you now at that level, and trying to make sure they understand that they're not going to get anywhere by behaving the way they are, and if they can talk nicely and quietly to you is better than them ranting and raving. Okay. Watch the body language with someone who is becoming aggressive. You'll see the fist being clenched, the eyes focused on you intently. Males will try and protect the groin area. They might turn like side on to you. Those sorts of things are indicators that they may be getting ready to this situation to escalate further. This is when you do need to back off. If you're using those, trying to calm them down, that sort of things, and it's not working, that's when you need to back off. Okay. Watch your personal space in relation to dealing with people. Don't get sort of within a fist sort of length of them, because if they do decide they're lashing out and you're within that space, you're an easy target. So leave yourself, 3 to 4 feet away, so that you aren't sort of quite within arm's reach of them. If you have to give someone papers or present them with something, and they are aggressive or they're behaving aggressively, don't come in from a front-on approach and hand them to someone who might be sitting. If you have to give them papers, come in from the side, stand to the side of them, give them papers, so that they realise that you're not a target in front of them. If you come straight onto someone, they're easy to lash out in the front with a kick or a punch, and then you're in real trouble. But coming in from the side, you don't have to stand in front, you're not exposed, and the body is kept sort of safe. Okay. In relation to in rooms in the hospice, always be aware. We get very complacent. I do it as well. We get complacent in our surroundings. Know where your exits are. Know the rooms or the areas within the hospice itself that may lead to you being trapped, that there is no sort of best escape route. Know your rooms, know where you can be and where a safe exit is. Don't get yourself stuck in a room where the door is over there and there is no way out and you're backed into a corner. Try and always work yourself around and think about being security conscious as you are in there. Also, if you can, if things have escalated, try and get a barrier between yourselves, a desk, a chair, anything that just puts something between you and that person will be of great help. The other thing that is quite important, especially with the different cultures that come into the hospice, is getting a family spokesperson. If there is one person in the family that is quite aggressive and is continually aggressive, and it may be that just the grief is coming out, try and identify a person within that family structure that is the family spokesperson, and that person will be the one for you to go to if necessary, and try and readjust the behaviour of the aggressive person. It's easier to come from within the family or friend group rather than an outsider trying to do it. So if you can identify that person who is going to be of great benefit to you, who is a family leader, the spokesperson, someone that everyone will listen to, then that's great. So my main tips for dealing with an aggressive person would be to stay calm, think about what you're saying before you say it, also coming in from that lower approach so that if you need to raise your voice up, you can. If not, you can keep it at a low level, and hopefully that'll calm the person down to even listen to what you're saying. Be receptive to what they're saying to you, but talking on a nice calm level should bring the situation down or diffuse the situation down. Don't ever be afraid to ring 111, okay? That is a given. If the situation is well out of control, then someone needs to ring 111. If it's not you, it's someone else, and you will get a police response from there, okay? The second part that I want to deal with, and touch wood, it hasn't happened at Cranford Hospice, but we're just giving you the training so that you are aware should something happen, and that is in relation to armed robbery. Now, armed robbery you would normally think of at a service station or a dairy or something like that for money. At Cranford Hospice, they would be there for drugs. Okay. Now, you won't have keys for the safe for drugs, so if someone comes in, and I'm presuming they will be someone who is high or coming down off a high and is in need of drugs and is very desperate for drugs, you need to find a nurse or the person who has the keys for the safe, all the while keeping calm. So again, there is this need for calmness, need for coolness. Just take a deep breath. It will be a stressful situation, and it is one that we need you to remain calm for and try and think logically. What did Deb say in that video? Okay, so calm is the first one. Cooperate with whatever they are telling you, whatever they are wanting from you. Cooperate. Don't try and argue with them. Don't try and mess the situation up or mislead them in any way. Do exactly as you are told, all the while taking in as much information as you can. Do not try to press panic buttons or try and trick them or try and get 111 there, trying to call anyone just yet. Wait till they are gone, okay? Let them have what they are wanting, get them to the drug cabinet, whatever they are wanting, and watch them leave. Now, the first thing you do once they have left is ring 111. You need to say that you are a victim of a robbery. An armed robbery means someone has come in and has had a firearm, a knife, a hammer, anything, or there are two people. It's an armed or aggressive robbery. Okay, so you need to say to the comms people when you talk to them on the phone that you've had a robbery, that you're at Cranford Hospice, Hastings. They will ask you all sorts of questions. Think calmly and quietly, because as you are telling them you've had a robbery, they are typing into our system that there has been a robbery, and it will be going through to our dispatcher, who then dispatches our troops from Hastings. So don't think, oh my goodness, I'm giving all this information, no one's doing anything. As you are speaking, they are typing it into our system, and then it is coming through to the Hawke's Bay dispatcher, who will be dispatching our troops. Okay. Now, things to remember in relation to an armed robbery is as much detail as you can remember in relation to our offender. Height, go in relation to your height. I always say to people, how tall was he? Oh, he was taller than me. So if he's taller than me, he's going to be 6 foot plus. Okay. If he's shorter than me, well, hey, up to there on me, that sort of thing. Use those markers. Good things for us to help us in tracking down our offender is also clothing, description of clothing. Now, if that person had Nike track pants on, you'll see the Nike tick. If they've got Adidas track pants or Adidas shirt on, hoodie, you can give that description. Or if there's something across that front of the shirt or down the sleeves, again, try and remember there was something on that grey hoodie, it was in black writing down the right arm. Anything like that that you can give us is worth gold for us. And you'll say, oh yeah, but he can take that off. Yes, he can take that off. But again, if we've got that, we can use that further down the track if we need to for search warrants, or should we have a dog handler out and they come across a piece of clothing in the road, we know we're on the right track. So clothing is of vital importance to us. The other thing that is very important is also noting down tattoos, scars or mark. Now if that person comes in and has a spider web across that left hand, just remember that in your head. Give that to the police as you're giving a description. That sort of stuff there is vital because we can look that stuff up on our system. As soon as it is plugged into our computer system, tattoos on left hand, spider web, it'll come up with a whole raft of our previously arrested offenders that have a tattoo of a spider web on their left hand, so it can narrow down our search as well. So if you remember nothing, remember tattoos are really important for us. Okay. Now when you've made that 111 phone call and you have told the dispatcher, they will keep you on the line until police arrive. Don't think that we aren't arriving. Robberies mean you drop everything and you go to that area. So we will be setting up cordons inappropriate to how that person has decamped or left your premises. So while I mean decamped, I'm meaning, is that person on foot? Did that person hop onto a push bike? Is that person into a car? So that will determine the distance our cordons are away from Cranford Hospice itself, whether they are within 20 metres or so of the hospice, whether they are 100 metres out, whether some more cordons are needed out on, say, York Road, Havelock Road. Okay, so again, another real important thing for us is to be able to identify how that person is left. I'm not asking you to go out the front doors and watch that person, but if you can see how they have left, get any description of their mode of transport is also a real bonus for us. Okay. The other thing I would say in highly traumatic or stressful situations is everyone's perception of what has happened is different. So my perception might have been that robber was wearing a grey hoodie and brown pants, where someone else will say, no, that was a blue hoodie. And no one's wrong. No one is wrong. It's your perception on the day. So don't, if you've had an armed robbery and the person's left, don't sit there with the next person and start talking about what you've seen and then start confusing yourselves. What I would say to you is quietly in a corner, just start writing down your notes, whatever you can remember. Don't discuss it with another person because you'll start getting confused and the memory goes. I know we're not all young and fresh and got all the memory in the world, but I know myself, if I've looked at something after a few minutes and half an hour to an hour down the track, I'm losing that memory of what that was. So write it down as soon as you can. If that offender has dropped anything on their way out, touched anything, if they haven't been wearing gloves, leave that area alone. The less foot traffic, and by that I mean people wandering through that area, the better chance we have of getting DNA from that area, fingerprints from that area. Okay, so any smooth surfaces are great for fingerprinting, even if you're not sure. Cordon that area off or put something over the top of it and tell the police when they get there, oh look, our offender touched this area or climbed over this desk or grabbed hold of that door handle. Anything like that is of real importance to us. Likewise, whether that offender has dropped anything. By that I mean sunglasses, beanie, gloves, anything he or she was carrying is of vital importance because we can get DNA off that. Don't pick it up and start moving it and putting it somewhere else. Leave it where it is, put a bag, put a bucket, put something over it so that it is not going to be touched. Because when our forensic team get there, we will want to photograph the area, perhaps video it, and also We will need to photograph things in situ, where they have landed, how this has all taken place, and where the offender has been throughout the building, where their escape route and exit and entry points are. Okay, so a few things to remember there in relation to armed robberies and dealing with aggressive people. Remember, 111 is the only phone call to make. Okay, do not try and look for a Hawke's Bay number. You just won't get an answer quickly. If it is an emergency, if you are dealing with a situation right then and then, or you have just had an armed robbery or robbery of some sort, 111. Okay, those calls go down to Wellington first, and then if they're not answered within a certain time frame, they then go to Auckland or Wellington. So you will need to be specific as to where you are in New Zealand, remembering those calls are not answered locally. Okay, so 111 is the phone call to make. Being calm, cooperating with everything that is asked of you from that offender, and just trying to take in as much detail as you can about that person, what they've said, what they're wearing, have they got a hat on, do they have facial hair, have they got tattoos visible. Anything that you can remember will be of help, and don't think it is too small or too insignificant for us to take note of. Okay, so again, that's my wrap up of dealing with aggressive people and also dealing with armed robbery. Thank you very much. I'm hoping it will never happen to you, but at least if it does, you have the tools in the toolbox to deal with it.